Hi, everybody. I'm Jeffrey Driscoll.
And I'm Jim Kerr.
And welcome to 15 Minutes of Fame. Well, Jim, the big story in the world of sports this week involves me playing hockey for the first time this year. Oh,
Congratulations.
Man, it was absolutely crazy, but, I survived it and made it for the show.
There might be a lockout, so what are you going to do?
What are you going to do, right?
You're going to stay at your day job, I guess?
Exactly. Well, no, really, though, the big story in the world of sports this week absolutely involves cycling. And like every other time we talk about cycling on this show, it's got to do with doping. Jim, what do you make about all the Lance Armstrong stuff?
Well, it's true that we only talk about cycling when it involves doping, because what else is there to talk about in cycling?
That's true. That's
true.
Did
you see that hill that guy biked up?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Cool.
Yep.
Anyway, so Lance Armstrong has dropped his challenge of the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency investigation into the doping allegations that have surrounded him for,
forever?
A decade or something? And it comes and goes. There's evidence, there isn't evidence, there's witnesses, there isn't witnesses. So yeah, that's been ongoing. He's finally said, okay, I've had enough. It's tough to know. It's tough to know what we're dealing with here. But they say they've got witnesses. He knows what evidence they have. They know what evidence they have. He's never failed a test, a doping test. But that's been a story. Like, other people have not failed tests before.
That's right.
And turned out to be mega dopers. He says he's just tired of participating in this one-sided witch hunt. So his 7 Tour de France titles are gone, Olympic medals stripped, and banned from cycling, Jeff.
Yeah, amazing.
Quite story.
Did you have a chance to read his open letter that he put on his website?
Yeah. That was interesting, the way he kind of framed it. But I've also read some other stuff that kind of hints at, like he knows what evidence they have. He knows what's riding on this for him, and business ventures, Live Strong, for example.
Right.
So there's some people thinking that maybe sitting there and everything coming out day after day after day after day while the world watches on might not be the best thing for his. So if he can frame it as though he's throwing his hands up, listen, I'm tired of this, I'm just gonna move on. Then he maybe comes out looking like he's not the bad guy here, but it's tough to
it's
figure
tough.
out what else going on.
You've heard both sides. We talked about the letter that Lance Armstrong wrote, and then the USADA's side of things as well. So you've been following the story for a little while, but I mean, at this point, with all the evidence on both sides, who do you believe?
It's tough. Am I 100% certain that he cheated? No. Am I 100% certain that he's clean? No.
Right.
So that's where I'm at personally, and I think a lot of people are in the same boat. It's kind of like, well, lots of people were doing it. He was the best one. Teammates were caught. If you follow that line of thinking, he probably did. But at the same time, you want to believe that he didn't. You want to believe that he's just a pure athlete who, dominated a sport. And I'm sure he wasn't the worst guy doing it, but there's probably a little bit in there. I mean, if it was something that was pretty normal in the sport, which it sounds like it was, he probably cheated a bit. That's where I'm at with it. What do you think?
Well, yeah, the problem is my incredible naivety. We're both journalists and taught that we're supposed to question everything. But for some reason, that part really didn't get to me. And I read after reading all the stuff, I'm like, oh, yeah, he totally did it. And then I read his letter. And I'm like, oh, maybe it is a witch hunt. You know what? Conspiracy. This is totally what's happening. Lance Armstrong's completely clean. And we should give him a medal.
And you know what's funny is I read the things in the opposite order. So I was like, oh, yeah, he didn't. And then I read the other thing that made me think he did. And I was like, oh, just conflicted. So, and he's been banned from cycling, so he's got to walk everywhere, which is tough, right? He's getting old.
Of course. Nice work. Well played.
I'm here all week, folks.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Well, I don't know. I tell you, if this takes away from the Live Strong campaign and all the funding that's been against cancer, then I'll be really disappointed. But if it doesn't, who cares? Jim's guy's 40.
Yeah.
He's moved on. The fight against cancer is his new battle, and that's okay.
Yeah, and I mean, you could really go deep into this debate here, but if you never passed or never failed a drug test during that long period of time, well, come on, you didn't catch him.
That's right.
So even if he was cheating, the infrastructure in place to stop people from cheating didn't catch him, so he didn't cheat.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the way it works. Anyways.
Who knows?
Who knows? That's exactly what we have to take from this.
Yep.
Well, let's talk a little hockey. What's the latest, or really not the latest, in NHL labor talks?
Stalemate.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like. We're waiting. I think there's meetings scheduled for this week.
Yeah.
Not a lot of positive talk coming out from either side. They're talking about the serious financial, economic issues that have to be solved in a business that's just off the charts booming. But obviously there's more to it than just one number. But when you see that the NHL is, the revenue's up by X ludicrous amounts of dollars,
right,
you think, how can there be serious economic issues that need to be resolved? I think that when I hear talk like that, I think lockout.
Yep.
Sadly, there was a rules summit last week, though. So it was one interesting thing came out of that involving the players. Players want a list of known divers posted in rinks around the league, and it's funny because a lot of the talk surrounding that is journalists talking to players who all swear on the Bible they don't dive, neither do their teammates. It's those guys over there, bunch of divers, not us. So that list should be very humorous, I would think.
It reminds
and then how do you get off the list? How do you get on the list?
That argument, though, reminds me of every men's league hockey basketball team I've ever been on. Like, oh my God, that other team was horrible. A bunch of divers, and you're like, no, we never do that. Like, come on.
Yeah. That's why I enjoy watching a game between two teams that I'm not really a hardcore fan of either, but being on Twitter at the time and following people who are, because there'll be a play that as a casual observer you see one way, and as a diehard fan on either side of it, you see just there's nothing else that's possibly could have happened there. That was absolutely a penalty, no question. That was absolutely not a penalty, no question. So, and watching that on Twitter is always a good time. So I'm sure it's the same deal with this, but yeah, it's kind of funny. Like, I wonder if it would be posted like in the concourse, in the dressing rooms, or what.
Like, can other people see this? Like, do players
prints it on the back of the ticket?
Yeah, that's right. So watch out for
watch for number 73. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or exactly. That's hilarious. I love it. Well, let's talk a little MMA. I love this story. In fact, I'm a little surprised it took this long to get this story. There were two big stories. There were two big stories of the UFC this week, including the cancellation of UFC 151. That's the one I'm really interested in. What happened there? Yeah,
it is very interesting.
Yeah.
Dan Henderson was supposed to fight John Jones, who's one of the current champs.
Right.
He got injured in the lead up to the September fight, I believe September 1st. There's something I read actually today or the day before that Henderson had actually hurt himself a few weeks ago, but was trying to battle through it,
right.
and just recently had to say like, sorry, I can't fight. So usually in this situation they just pick a replacement and go on with it, but that replacement was Chael Sonnen, who's a mouthpiece and all kind. He's the WWF of UFC. That's pretty much, but he declined it. He said no. So Dana White had to scrap the entire card because I guess the rest of the card wasn't really up to much, and they felt as though they'd be kind of ripping off the fans maybe, or they didn't have like a solid main event, so they just canceled the whole card. It turns out that actually he'll be fighting Vitor Belfort later in the month, but he was like the 5th choice. They went through a handful of fighters, and there's also conspiracies a little bit that Sonnen kind of planned this all along when he initially heard that Henderson had been injured, that he started training and but made it seem like I'm taking it on 8 days notice, and I don't know. Who knows? But it's very interesting, and Dana White is not happy.
No.
And that's not a guy that, and Jones is like a UFC sponsored fighter. He's the company man right now. But Dana White was very mad, and that's not a guy you want mad at you. But he'll be fighting later in the month, and hopefully hopefully for him, this doesn't cause him more problems down the road.
Dana White's always fun to listen to. Sometimes you wish Gary Bettman had a little more Dana White in him.
Yeah.
The conference call that Dana White gave was entertaining, was fun to listen to, and gave a little background into, the behind-the-scenes part, and I loved it.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
He comes off as a regular guy who just happens to be at the helm of this probably billion-dollar organization.
That's right. That's right, and that's what I love about him.
Yeah.
Seriously, though, John Jones is in some serious trouble with the company. Like, I don't know if he's going to – well, we'll see if he can come back from that. But, yeah, absolutely amazing.
To his defense, though, you might not want to take a fight on short notice like that because you're training for one type of fighter. And people were saying that there's similar types of fighters, but Sonnen's a dangerous guy. And we've seen him take one of the world's best mixed martial artists to the brink when he almost beat Anderson Silva.
Right.
So maybe Jones is looking out for his best interests a little bit. But White said a champ has never turned down a fight like that, and he's never had to cancel a card before. So those two things right there are, they don't look good for John Jones. Let's say that.
That's exactly why I love this story. Is those two things that you mentioned, absolutely. And yeah, John Jones. I don't blame him. That's exactly right. You train for a different fighter. I don't blame him. It's just. He was putting him between a rock and a hard place, right? Like, and he's a champion, putting his belt up again. I don't know, man, but yeah. Anyways, so what's this here we're hearing about? Boy, we've been doing this show almost 2 years, Jim, and we've been talking about this for 2 years. What's going on?
Yep, Dana White, the man, my man, says if GSP beats Carlos Condit, there will probably be a George St. Pierre Anderson Silva fight at a catchweight, and that will be awesome.
Yes.
I've been waiting and it's fun because Dana White's been talking trash a little bit about the whole Mayweather-Pacquiao thing, and he's got his own in his organization in totally different circumstances, mind you. Sure. But the fight that everybody wants to see, that maybe not, maybe will it happen, could it happen, would it happen, would they want to, will they? Finally, we know that if George St. Pierre's been out of the octagon for a while, but hopefully he comes back and he's as good or better than he was. I believe it's didn't he have a knee injury that kept him out for about a year? I know I know he's been training a lot lately. He posts videos and pictures and stuff on social media quite a bit. But if GSP's the same fighter, which I hope he is,
me too.
He'll beat Carlos Condit, hopefully, and then we'll see that fight, and that is going to be hopefully awesome. It might be a total disappointment, but you roll the dice and hope for the best. But that could potentially be one of the best fights ever. Actual mixed martial arts fans will probably think I'm stupid for saying that, but that's the fight that I wanted to see so bad.
Well, that's the thing. You and I aren't hardcore MMA fans. We like watching it, but we're not hardcore. So. But that's a good example for casual fans. I guess you and I are probably more than casual fans, but for casual fans, that's what we want to see. Is a fight like this. That's what's going to get you and me interested. So that's what's going to get me to maybe buy a pay-per-view. I'm kidding around. I'll probably go to a pub. That's probably what'll happen. But
I'll go this far. I won't even play a single game of beer pong until after the fight.
Wow.
Yeah. So I remember it in its entirety.
You heard it here first, kids. You heard it here.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Okay, let's move on to the GABBYs now before we run out of time here. Let's give a good to Roger Clemens. Fresh off a big win in court, he signed with the Sugarland Skeeters and played on Saturday, pitching scoreless 3 1/3 innings. The 50-year-old last pitched in 2007. I mean, Jim, guy struck out 2 players, including 1 former major leaguer. Good for him.
Yeah, I heard Dominic Hasek wanted to be his back catcher.
Oh, there it is.
Just the seniors tour.
That's right. Sure, it was.
That's good. That's cool, though.
Yeah, sure, it was an independent league, but still,
Yeah. Hey, we love independent league here in Edmonton.
We really do.
Actually, I think the team they were playing. Oh no, this might have been for this next good. It was one of the teams that the Edmonton Capitals played against before they took the year off.
That's right.
A good this week to Bill Spaceman Lee, who became the oldest pitcher to win a game when he went 9 innings, complete game, for the San Rafael Pacifics on Thursday. The man is 65 years old, Jeff.
Not only the complete game, but 65. Like, that's fantastic.
Yeah, he broke his own record, which was 63. So he broke the record. Took 2 years off to work on his stuff, then came back. Not bad.
You know, it's tough for me to get up from the couch, right? But
yeah, I couldn't pitch 3 1/3 right now. Never mind.
Let's give a good to the 9-month-old baby. Speaking of records, I think this is the first time we've ever given a good to a baby.
Yep.
9-month-old baby who has reportedly seen 2 of baseball's 23 all-time perfect games. Jim likes to give me hard names to say here. Bo Dockel? Sure. What the heck? Saw Phil Humber's perfect game back in April and was in the stands for the Felix Hernandez perfect game recently. So that's a pretty good record.
Yeah, I would hang up the diaper after that. You're not going to see another perfect game, but 2 out of 23 all time. That's pretty good.
Not bad, not bad.
It's a lucky little kid.
Yeah.
I'm not jealous. I don't even care.
Don't even care.
I wouldn't. Yeah. Whatever, man.
Whatever.
Yeah. I can go to the bathroom myself, kid. I get solid food.
Yeah, I get. Yeah.
On the bad side, Jeff, did you hear about the Oklahoma City school that made a kindergarten kid? Lots of kids in this edition of the GABBYs. Yeah, they made a kindergarten kid put his Michigan shirt inside out. They have a strict dress code that actually says the only college stuff you can wear is Oklahoma College. But Michigan heard about this. The Wolverines, they heard about this. They responded awesomely by sending the kid a shirt that says Michigan on the inside as well, and also inviting the family out to a game. They're going to put them on the big screen, and so that's good. That's I like that in today's this day and age, that type of story makes it onto the internet and gets the AD at Michigan is like, oh, we can't have this. Let's do a bunch of stuff for this kid. Like, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, free publicity for Michigan, and they love it, right? That's absolutely.
But what kind of dumb school?
What a dumb school!
It's like, okay, we better put this in for the kindergartners. There will be because kindergartners that follow rival schools, it can get heated.
It can get heated,
especially in bowl season.
Absolutely, especially
that. Like the monkey bars, but behind the monkey bars is a busy place during bowl season.
That's right.
They've had to bring in these rules.
Right, exactly. I'm going to give a bad to Danica Patrick, someone who I don't usually give a bad to quite often. She can't seem to catch a break. She really can't these days. She was leading a race last week for about 20 laps until she ran over listen to this, Jim, a shoe that someone had thrown onto the track. She finished in 27th. Honestly, who throws a shoe?
But seriously. Who throws a shoe at a sporting event?
Who throws a shoe?
Or a George Bush press conference?
Yeah, there you go. How does that shoe mess up a professional... Actually, I know how it can happen, but yeah. Come on.
I run over stuff all the time. My car's fine.
Or is it?
Slow leak in one of my tires, but
exactly.
Just fill it up every day. You're okay.
You're fine.
I'm so responsible. Anyways, finally, another one bites the dust in the MLB. Pitcher Bartolo Colon tested positive for PEDs this week. He's been banned for 50 games.
Yep.
It's probably the end of the line because he's 40. They never learn, do they?
Yep.
I think Jose Canseco had a funny tweet about it. He's like, you'd never know with that body. Because he's a bigger guy. He's
a little bit of a bigger guy. That's right. Well, the punchline this week is the San Francisco Giants, who had to scrap an upcoming promotion because of PEDs, Jim.
That's true, Jeff. They were about to give out 20,000 Melky Cabrera T-shirts for an upcoming game. But since Cabrera also has been suspended for 50 games over elevated testosterone and the fake website that we talked about last week, I don't know. They just had to turf it. I don't know how much it would cost to make 20,000 shirts, but I'm sure they're not happy about that. I wonder what they'll do with them.
Well,
send them to like United Way or something, or wait 50 games.
Well, maybe they'll find a kindergarten kid who's not allowed to wear a San Francisco Giants shirt at his school, and then give him all 20,000 to him.
All 20, kid, you will never have to buy clothes ever again.
That's right.
Unless you want to wear something other than this T-shirt.
That's absolutely right. All right, folks, that's it for this week. That's our 15 minutes of fame. Join us again next week for a whole new 15 minutes of fame. In the meantime, I have an Edmonton Oilers shirt, but it's always inside out.
And I can't think of anything witty to say.
Have a good week, folks. Nice.
I seriously couldn't.
No. You did pretty good, though. You did pretty good. I don't know if you needed to do anything there.
That was like hipster wit right there.
That's right.
I can't think of anything witty to say.